Zoom share. All right, I will reshare now. Hi, everyone. Thanks again for coming in here today. I am Scott Wismont, the owner of Rainbow Getaways. So today we're going to be exploring the benefits of an LGBTQ host agency. I am a small independent boutique agency. We have a few agents specifically for the LGBTQ community. Just a couple of housekeeping things. If you are watching live, feel free to add your questions to the chat. We'll have plenty of time for Q&A towards the end. And if you are watching a recording of this and you have questions, feel free to send me an email and I'll make sure that my email is visible at the end and in the description of the video. So a little bit about myself. I have been selling travel since 2015. Started out selling cruises, specifically Disney cruising. And I used COVID actually to follow my passion and start Rainbow Getaways because there was a gap in the industry for the LGBTQ community. And just a couple of personal notes. My favorite way to travel is a cruise. I'll be getting on Explorer 1 on Friday to head down to Colombia and then to Panama. And then I have a couple more cruises next month in April. So my favorite way to travel. And I'm on the board for the Central Florida ASTA chapter. I'm a huge proponent of ASTA and what they do for our community, and I try to give back when I can. So a little bit about Rainbow Getaways. Our mission statement is to proudly help our travelers of the LGBT community and our allies research, plan, and book incredible vacations where they feel confident and comfortable to enjoy and explore their destination. How we do that, work with the best suppliers, best travel partners, whether that's the cruise lines, the DMCs, hotels, tour operators, etc. My first question that I always ask when I talk to a new supplier is, how are your DEI initiatives? How are you with inclusivity? And a lot of the suppliers have gotten to know me, and as soon as they see me, they start to come up with ways that they've improved since the last time we had talked. So before we jump into Rainbow Getaways specifically, I do want to give the typical overview that I always do when talking about LGBTQ travel, just to give a foundation for everyone. Reasons that our community travel look a lot like the straight world: romance, family vacations, exploring history, doing outdoor hikes, going on solo vacations, getting out to explore, friends trips. But we also have those community-specific trips. So Atlantis, Vacaia, Olivia, and then sub-community trips, bears, raves, leather scene, etc. So there's a lot of different reasons that we travel, but most of them really do look like the straight world. And for the most part, we just want a vacation where we are treated like everyone else. And that is the driving force for why I started Rainbow Getaways, because I truly believe that we don't need to be that token gay of a resort where they can point to the gay couple and say, hey, that's a gay couple, we're inclusive. So what sets us apart? For the most part, we just want to be treated like everyone else. We want to give our preferred bedding arrangements. We want to be treated with respect, and we want to show affection as freely as anyone in the hetero world would. Now, that being said, depending on where you're traveling, PDA may or may not be acceptable for anyone. And so we do want to make sure that we're respecting that, whether we're straight, gay, bi, or anything in between. We frequently travel in groups, and we value comfort and luxury while still feeling connected to the destination. And we travel more frequently than our straight counterparts. So some of the obstacles, if you are a part of the LGBT community, you may have experienced these yourself, or if you are from the outside looking in, destinations that are not welcoming to the community is probably the #1 conversation that I have with my clients and suppliers and tour operators, simply because not everywhere on the planet wants to welcome us. And so knowing where those destinations are is very, very important. But then also you have poor DE&I programs or ones that don't exist at all at hotels and resorts because they don't prioritize it. But then you also have travel advisors that don't know the niche. Because we travel a lot like the straight world, There's a lot of travel advisors out there that will say that they specialize in LGBTQ travel, but they don't really know our life and they don't know what the community really needs. And so that is a danger because they could recommend a destination that isn't great for us. And then also something that I see personally quite a bit is the stigma about gay travel. There's a specific stigma that we just like to go party, have sex, go out to the rave scenes, do drugs and all that. That is a very, very small portion of the community that's actually participating in that. And the broader LGBT community wants something entirely different. So now let's go ahead and change gears a little bit here and talk about what we're all here for, about what the differences are between an LGBTQ host and a general host agency for a travel advisor. So the non-LGBTQ focused hosts, there are tons of them, and there are some really, really good ones out there. I have some friends that are a part of the large host agencies, as also small boutique agencies. Really what you want to be asking is this going to support the type of travel that I want to book? So your general host agencies are going to focus on general travel. Now you will have the Disney focused ones. There's also the cruise focused ones, but they're focusing on them in the general sense, not the specific type of traveler. Now, if you do choose to work with one of those brands, you have to take the time to build out your own brand and focus it on the LGBT community. You're going to have to do all the legwork of building out that network with your travel destinations, your resorts, your cruise lines, etc., as a specialist in the LGBT community. And then also finding that network of LGBTQ focused niche travel partners. So these are going to be like the DMCs in the various countries that I've met through IGLTA and all my other conferences that I've gone to. A little bit about Rainbow Getaways. So we are an established LGBTQ plus host agency. We have a lot of the SEO keywords that are naturally ranked about LGBTQ travel on Google. We are networked with all the major destinations, the resorts, the tour operators, DMCs, and they know us for being an agency that focuses on our community. And that also means that we're networked with the best LGBTQ focused tour operators as well. When you work with a small boutique agency like Rainbow Getaways, you get direct access to myself and the other advisors. We have a chat that we're pretty much always in, checking in as we can throughout the day to keep a small family community going. And then we also welcome members from throughout the community, regardless of their experiencing level, what they're experiencing in their personal lives, where they're at in the overall community, gay, straight, allied, or any other letter that we have. And then also Ensemble is a member, Rainbow Getaways is a member of Ensemble. We also are a member of AFTA, IGLTA, and Rainbow Getaways is a certified LGBT business enterprise from the National Gay Business Council, NGLCC. If you're wondering why you should join Rainbow Getaways, the biggest reason is because you want to work with the LGBT community as your primary niche. If that's the direction that you want to go and your marketing efforts are going to go towards that, in the long run, this is really going to benefit you because we've done all the legwork to build that foundation. So you can really start off without having to start from scratch. If you're also interested in working with a small boutique agency, we are exactly what that is, meaning that everyone is involved, everyone is willing to help everybody else. There really isn't a big push to just expand out. I have a very specific plan for where I'm taking everything here, and it's not to grow to thousands and thousands of agents like some other host agencies. And you also want to support LGBTQ owned businesses with your own business. And so that's when you're working with those tour operators, the DMCs that are a part of the community for not just your clients that are a part of it, but because they are as well. And then also we are a concierge level support type of agency. So we are providing full service for our clients door to door, and not just a booking option where they can click book and then we never really talk to them. Next page. If you are a new advisor here, we have a lot of support for you. As a new advisor, you are joining an established brand that shows commitment to our agency or to the overall community by joining Rainbow Getaways. Travel planners know Rainbow Getaways brand and what we represent. I kind of mentioned it a few times because of the network that I've built out over the last few years. People answer the call and they know what I represent. The suppliers, like I'll give you an example of sandals. I was just talking to our sandals rep down at the Central Florida Roadshow for ASTA. And as soon as I walked up, he knew what I was going to ask. I don't sell a lot of sandals. Doesn't mean it's not an option, but he knows what my expectations are and what my hesitations are for the brand. And anytime I see him, he tries to win me over. So I give him an A for effort. We have personal training to build a strong business foundation. So I believe that you are all business owners first, travel advisors second. So you need to have that business foundation set up in order to be successful long-term. This isn't something where you can come in and start booking clients absolutely the next day. There's a lot of things that you need to build out your foundation before you start actually booking clients. Now, how fast you get to that is really up to you, but there are things that you want to make sure are in order first. We do monthly partner webinars and Rainbow Getaways team meetings. So we focus on a supplier each month. Like this month was TravelX, which is a travel insurance option. Last month was Intrepid, which is group travel. And we try to rotate through different options that will really be beneficial for the overall team. But then once those meetings are done, they're put on the team wiki page where you can go and watch any recording that has happened since we started recording them. We have low annual dues. I take a very conservative approach with how dues should be charged. I really only charge based off of the tools that you're getting. So you are getting access to the Rainbow Getaways email, a Travel Joy account, and then also Travel Industry Solutions. So you have all your legal documents in order. So those three things are really the foundation of what you need as an advisor. And then anything above and beyond that, you can choose to add on, whether that's an itinerary builder, building out your own brand, building out your own website. What I really want you to do is have something where you can start and then you can build from there. Now, our commission splits do start at 70%, 30% splits, with the next tier being after $50,000 of travel revenue in a year, taking you to 75. So we look at everything by traveled revenue. So if you book a bunch in 2024 that travels in 2025, that's really when the travel revenue would hit for your split considerations. And as you continue to grow out, your split can grow up to the highest being a 90-10 split. Next option is kind of the opposite of that, is if you're coming over as an established advisor. So as an established advisor, there are two routes that you can take. There is selling under the Rainbow Getaways brand, or if you've done all the work yourself and you already have your own brand established, you just would rather be working with a small boutique agency that focuses on the community. You can maintain that brand and use Rainbow Getaways as your host like you would any other host agency. The benefit of bringing everything over to Rainbow Getaways is you get to leverage our network, which is focused on the LGBTQ travel. And you also will continue to get access to professional trainings to build your business fundamentals. And then access to your email, direct email marketing from your mailing list. So this is through our ensemble platforms. Where you can go in. If you have email opt-ins, you can send them out to your clients. You can also get into direct email campaigns there. And then also we have affordable website design if you would like to build out your own website. Now, your annual dues as a self-branded advisor will be based off of what you need. So if you have your own email, you have your own website, you have your own CRM, all of those things that you would normally get through the normal annual dues, you may not actually have to pay annual dues. It's all based off the services that you would actually need. And then you would join at the commission split that you have from proven revenue. So if you have been performing the last couple of years and you're at $150,000 of revenue, that's what we would bring you over for your commission splits instead of starting you from scratch. Let's flip the coin. I do want to point out a couple of things for everyone just watching. Who should not join? The people that are not comfortable with the LGBTQ branding on client-facing documents. So the logo that you see at the bottom right corner is the logo that all the suppliers have. That's what goes out on documents. Rainbow Getaways is plastered on the documents because we are the agency of record. You cannot remove the LGBTQ travel concierge from that logo. So if you're uncomfortable having that, you probably aren't a good fit for us. If you're looking for free or discounted travel just as a reason to be an advisor, it does happen occasionally, but you have to really earn your stripes before suppliers are willing to give you that. It's pretty rare when you can just walk in and get a supplier to give you a free trip without ever having actually sold anything for them. If you're hands-off as travel planning, as in you just want to have a website where people come in, select their package, click book, they pay, and then you just send them an email and that's all you do, not a good fit. We are a concierge service, which means we are there from the moment they schedule the first consultation until they get home, and we're sending the welcome home email, asking them for their thoughts and feedbacks about their resort, the cruise line, or whatever they were doing. If you need immediate income, being a travel advisor at all is not right for you. It takes time to build up your client list. It takes time to build up your bookings. So if you are just looking at this as a brand new advisor, you are definitely going to want to have something in place to be able to afford your lifestyle until you are earning an income that you can take out as pay. Host Agency Reviews does their annual review or does an annual report, which the 2022 numbers that they put out last year showed that it usually took about 2.5 years for a hosted advisor to be able to make money that they could put towards the actual living expenses and not just put right towards their business. And then also, you don't have personal connections to your ideal clients. So it is really difficult to come in and be a part of the travel agency community. If you're coming into this and you don't know people that travel, you don't have friends, you don't have family, you don't have a personal passion about traveling. And if you're just looking to do this as a way to make some money, this really isn't for you. This is a passion job because as any advisor that has been in this a few years, one hurricane can have you ready to drink. And if you go through a hurricane season that's really, really bad, you could lose all your revenue because people just start crashing their bookings and canceling everything. I'll also add that friends and family are not your long-term clients, but they are a starting point if you're just starting out. Your long-term clients are going to be those people that you meet at your Pride festivals, that you meet at your salon, or that you just have call you because they find you on Google or a friend refers them to you. And then if you do not have the time to learn the ropes of the business and the details about preferred travel partners. So this is something that takes a lot of time to learn. Everything that I know, I've learned over the course of 9 years at this point. And it's a lot of going through trainings. Like I just retook the Marriott trainings for the CEUs that they have to do every year. I have my CTA, which means I have to take trainings every year to maintain the CEUs with the Travel Institute. So it's a constant learning. You're probably going to be dedicating a lot of time to learning. Now, how much you spend on this is really up to you, but it's going to be several hours a year at a minimum. So thank you all for watching this. I know I was talking really fast for a little while, so if you need me to repeat anything or go back to one of the slides, feel free to let me know. But we've got plenty of time for questions. So if you have any questions or if you want to kind of chat, feel free to come off mute. You're welcome to share your video as well if you want to show off your hairstyle for the day. But thank you very much, everyone, for attending. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will leave my email on the screen for you as well. Scott@rainbowgetaways.net. And then if you're interested in learning more or applying, rbg-advisor.com is where you can do that. Of course, Anna. Thank you for coming in.
All right, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna refrain from sharing my hairstyle currently, but circling back to DEI, because that's very important to me. I'm a cis queer female, and so I know that my partner and I have had some great travel experiences, no real issues, but where does Rainbow Getaways fall in terms of intersectionality with, people of color? Because we are also an interracial couple. We want to we're increasing our level of difficulty for places that might give us weird looks. But just because can also be a part of it, and it's still the same feeling of wanting to make sure that our clients are free to enjoy and explore and feel safe in the spaces that we send them to. Just curious as to if, when those DEI metrics, if working with clients who identify as people of color also comes into the discussion.
Answering as a personal level, for me, it does. I've got several clients that are people of color that are in the community, and they're clients that I book several trips for over the course of each year. And so they're the type of client that I text fairly frequently, opposed to just doing the standard consultation and I talk to you once or twice a year type of thing.
Right.
And I'm constantly talking to them about their thoughts, their feelings, how they felt, if they felt safe at the resort, if they felt like the resort treated them well, if they saw any issues. So I'm always seeking out feedback from them. Now I will say that I could use people of color as agents within Rainbow Getaways. Like right now, if you look at the About Us page, we're all white, and I would like to have some additional options there, because I know there are people out there that would rather go to somebody that looks like them because that's how they've experienced life. Right. And just like using it from a personal experience, like I get a lot of gay men that are bears because I'm a bear and I speak their language. So it just helps having a variety of options available so that everyone coming in feels seen and welcomed.
Okay, thank you. That was my main one, because I know it is an untapped market. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that as well.
No, for sure. And I try, in any images that I use, I try to ensure that we're at least giving as many variety of people as we can, whether it's lesbian couples, gay couples, people of colors, interracial couples, just because like we all have to be seen.
And that's actually and another follow-up. So then I get it, because your lens is, if you're like, hey, gay male travel for bears, because that's my lived experience. I don't have any major ability issues or mobility issues, but I do frequently arrange travel for extended family where two people are in wheelchairs. So and again, because to me, that's all part of the diversity discussion, because we know that travel in the world at large is designed for white, cis, het, able-bodied men. So I look at everything else because that's my lived experience. So I'm guessing your relationships are good enough with suppliers, but do you have any knowledge on the forefront which suppliers, are able to accommodate those people with mobility issues, more than just oh yeah, we have, a handicap room? Because sometimes it's great, except there's no elevator, or there's one room, and if it floods, then that room is out of commission, and then what do you do?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the trainings that we did last month was actually about accessible travel. And it's really was there to highlight the type of questions that we all should be asking, which I know the surface level things for the suppliers, like the cruise lines that I work with. I know like what the river cruises can or can't do and really how not accessible they are. And then also talking about Caribbean resorts or things in Europe. Um, I know the places really to avoid and what the limitations are when they're excessive, but like those middle of the roads, like it could work, but I don't know how to do it. Like I work with DMCs a lot
Mhm.
in those destinations because they're able to, like, they know those spaces far better than I do on what can actually be done.
Right. Okay. I don't want to hog you, but I have one
No,
question more
you're
on
good.
the business side of things. So in terms of, I'm talking about the membership and the dues and what's included. Do you provide or carry like E&O insurance for agents? Or is it something, I mean, I know it's always encouraged to get it on your own, but is it something that you have and you encourage advisors to have on their own
Yeah,
as
so great question. Because I was actually mine's up for renewal this year and or right now, and I was just talking to my insurance guy this morning. Um, Easy answer is if you're a branded agent under Rainbow Getaways, my policy will cover you. However, once you start to produce and you're hitting a measurable amount of bookings that is approaching like not just like the taxable amount,
Mhm.
but money, like you're putting money into this, like that's when you want to start getting your own E&O insurance as well. So then you would have your own policy and also my policy would cover you. If you are selling under your own brand, then that's when you have to have your own policy from the get-go.
Okay.
Because the policies go by names. So even though you're using my credentials, the business names are different. So the insurance companies want you to have your own policy at that point.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a much more complex conversation because
Right. Yeah, no.
I spent an hour on the phone with him, and by the end of that hour, my head was ready to explode. I'm like, all right, I need more coffee or something to try to process what you just told me.
Right. Well, I think that's it for now. I will touch base with you outside of this Zoom and we can go over some more things. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Anna. If you think of anything later on, email me.
All right.
I'm always
Thanks.
happy to chat. Uh,
Thanks.
Janice, I see your question in here about vetting process as far as suppliers I choose to work with that are committed to LGBTQ travelers. So yes, although I can't say it's really official because it's always just been me doing the vetting and figuring out who I can really recommend to the advisors. Um, but it's always having the conversation of how do our clients feel. I use sandals as the example just because that's really the worst experience I've ever had. So like I was there talking to a GM when I was doing a fam trip, asked about the inclusivity, like how are they with gay couples? Because I had always heard that sandals wasn't ideal just because like they used to refuse to let gay couples share a room until the UK said, hey, if you don't do this, you can't market to our people. So they finally reluctantly let us go there without any problems. Um, and things have gotten better over the years. It's still like, but you can't get married in Jamaica, so they don't even let you do any type of wedding. Anyway, I rambling at that point. So when I was talking to the GM, I'm like asking about the inclusivity, and they gave me like, yeah, we've got a gay couple here. Would you like me to introduce you to them and so they can tell you about your experience? That's the type of thing that turns me off from a property. If you can name a token gay couple and use them to say why you're such a great resort, is probably not a great resort for your destination, or you're not a great resort for the community. But then also I'm constantly having those conversations with the suppliers. So if you all sell celebrity, last year or the year before, they came out with a whole new inclusivity collection. That was a conversation I've been having with them for the last couple of years. And it finally got to the point where they were like, yeah, we need to do this. So trying to have these suppliers be more inclusive, or like when I'm talking to Regent about their product, I'm looking at their catalog and I'm like, you have no inclusivity. Like these are all old, straight white people. How am I going to sell this? how are you going to sell, not just me, but how's anyone going to sell this as a millennial or younger? Like, we don't look like these people. Do you want our money or not? So really, I'm just rambling as a way to say that I'm asking the questions that I've experienced about to see how they handle the situation. But then also, like, as we go through and look at it from the hotels, like if they have that queer destinations uh, designation that they've earned, that's a great way to find out that hotels are great. But then also learning and reading from other advisors that I've sent clients there and getting reviews. But I hope that was hope that answered your question, Janice. I feel like I was super, super long-winded for 3 minutes of talking.
No, that was great. Thank you. It's just, I'm always curious about that because, there's so many companies now coming out and folks, like you mentioned, queer destinations, doing their thing. And it's all awesome. I think IGLT is doing something now too, right? Certified, which is all awesome. But I find myself always asking the question, okay, what is, even at the conference, Puerto Rico, I was talking, I think booking.com is doing something. And I asked them like, hey, okay, well, how long is the certification good for? And they're like, they really didn't have an answer. So this is always I always like to go a little bit deeper because, folks like to be like, well, yeah, we're welcoming and friendly. And yes, we support. But it's like, okay, so you get a GM of a hotel that does the training and then they leave. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
has anyone else done this training? There's no follow-up. It's like, okay, it's a one-time thing. That's it. And it's like, I want to know that people are doing the, so-called training or whatever it is they need to do, that they're really serious about it. So, but yeah, thanks for answering that question. I mean, I'm sorry, I went off a little bit, but
No, you're good.
just always
I've
curious.
experienced that too. Like, it's especially for small boutique hotels, like if they change out their GMs, and the GM's the one that's driving the initiative, like it may or may not fall to the next
Right.
person because they might have entirely different priorities. Where like Marriott, they have a really good inclusivity program, so I use them kind of as their example. Like they train that at the corporate level, which then goes down to all the hotels. Now, it doesn't necessarily always translate to that entry level employee at the hotel, but the effort is there from the corporate level, and really that's just retraining of that individual, where a hotel that doesn't have it is a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then also and even within the community, like we've got guest houses and lesbian houses. I'm not sure what they have a name, honestly. But like they are geared towards the in shape young guys, or they're geared towards the bears. They're not fully inclusive. Like there's a lot of different options, especially like in Key West or the islands, that if I was to go to one of them, I probably wouldn't feel all that comfortable because it's not my type of person that's staying there. And so even though they're within the community, they're still not great for everyone in the community.
Exactly. That's huge. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, even going back to what Anna was saying, like, intersectionality, like that's a huge thing, especially for me. I mean, I'm look, like you said, some places I'd be like, all right, well, looks like that's for the, the men or the, whatever. So it's like, and then add, I'm a black, okay, black queer, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It is a lot. It's a lot. So, but yeah, I love what you're doing here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, if you have any questions, I can hang out here for a little bit. I'm going to stop the recording, but if you want to come off mute, feel free to. My email just got at rainbowgetaways.net. Thanks again. If you're watching the recording, enjoy the rest of your day. And done with